How's it going, Commanders fans? Welcome into Believe in Commanders. I'm your host, Brian Murphy. As always, I am joined by my guy, Triple A. Triple A, how are you doing on Thursday, which is the start of the football weekend?
I'm feeling good, being able to enjoy a win for the past few days and, just be able to bask in that glory. Saw Taylor got some new shoes.
That's right.
Life is good. Life is good.
Yeah, he got his O lineman hooked up as well. So we'll talk about the Commanders, how they keep it rolling, how they avoid a letdown. They head out to Houston, a team that could be sneaky. Don't have a great record, but they can be sneaky. They got some playmakers. So we'll talk about all of that. Also, the Eagles made a couple of moves. We think that the Commanders kind of exposed them a little bit, and they're making sure that doesn't happen again. We'll touch on that. And then, as always, on our Thursday preview shows, we'll finish it off with picks brought to you by Bet Online. We'll get you all the spreads, and hopefully I'll do better than I have been doing. But Anthony, tell us about Bet Online.
Yes, indeed. Bet Online is here. Bet Online is back. Even though my Mavs find a way to lose games to subpar teams, Bet Online is still there. They're always going to be your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You're going to find your latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all over there at Bet Online. As your continued source for all your sports wagering information, Bet Online features live betting, free contests. I just saw one for the World Cup, and giveaways all season long. It's always your fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, MMA, NHL, tennis, boxing, even golf, and like I said, World Cup. That's on there.
Let's
Head
go.
to betonline.ag to receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use our promo code BLEAV, that's BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus. That'll get you rewards. Bet Online, it's where the game starts. Let's do this thing.
That's right. So we are starting, thanks to our friends at Bet Online for bringing us the show. As always, we are starting with the Commanders heading to Houston. I got a lot of questions for you. I'm not gonna lie. I know we want to preview the Texans and what the Commanders have done well and matchups and all that. But I got a couple of questions for you, so I want to get to those in a second. But what are your initial thoughts on the Texans? I saw on your Instagram that you were breaking down a little bit of what they do. It seems like it's a lot of Dameon Pierce. It seems like they've got a solid rookie corner in Derek Stingley. But what did you like, or what did you see from them when you were looking at their tape?
That's a talented team, just a young team. They're just young. That's the biggest issue right now, and that's something that over time they're going to get better. I mean, Davis Mills is young quarterback out of Stanford. He's got his Pep Hamilton as his offensive coordinator, so he's familiar there. Dameon Pierce is very talented. Outside of receiver, I mean, then Brandon Cooks is their lead horse, but outside of that, they don't have a whole bunch that they're working with. On defense, I mean, like you said, Derek Stingley, he's a talented player, but once again, they're in the bottom portion of the league, bottom third of the league in just about every category, and it's for a reason. Youth is the main thing. This is a winnable game by Washington. They should show up and set the tone early and quickly take this team out of their misery.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's my biggest thing is that if you can get them out of their comfort zone, which is handing the ball off to Dameon Pierce, who is just an angry runner with the football, if you can take them out of that and force Davis Mills to have to spread it around, I think that is a recipe for success for the Commanders. We talked about it a little bit. I think Houston kind of laid the groundwork for what the Commanders did against the Philadelphia Eagles a couple weeks ago on Thursday night. And they like to run the ball, but if you can take them out of that, if the Commanders can get a couple of scores early and kind of force them to play from behind, I feel like that'll take them out of their comfort zone. It does make me nervous. It feels a little bit like a trap game. You're coming off a big emotional win on Monday night against an undefeated divisional opponent. Let me ask you this as a player. How do you avoid a letdown? How do you avoid, coming in here and letting the ball drop and letting your guard down after you beat a significantly better opponent? How do you avoid kind of letting that linger and fester or kind of creep into the next week?
Oh, yeah. Number one, you got to humble yourself and just make sure you know that, hey, last week was last week. Your past performances are not indicative of your future success, both good and bad, right? So you just beat a very good team in Philly. You're going to go up against a team who's at the bottom part of the NFL. Look, don't show up in there assuming that they're going to lay down. These guys are playing for their jobs. They're playing to make rosters. They want to make contracts. Some guys want to get traded. So, look, you're going to go down to Houston. You're going to have a tough matchup. You really just have to focus on you and make sure you set the tone early. you see teams play down to competition. And you also see some of those same teams will play up to competition. You don't want to be in that category of playing down, because when you get in the third quarter, you got a scrappy team hanging around, and that's when upsets happen and mistakes happen. So the main way to get past having a slump, or just, finding a way to let a game lapse, is just to really focus in and be even that much more better in your preparation. Right, during the week, do much more, watch more tape, make sure you're doing all the things that you need to do as if you were playing against the #1 team in the NFL. Right?
Yeah,
if you have that same level of preparation.
Yeah, it seems like the mindset just can't change. I mean, it feels like the NFL is a week-to-week league. I mean, you look back a couple of weeks ago, we would have thought there's no way the Eagles drop a game against a team under 500. There's no way the Bills lose a game at home, and both of those things happened within a span of 36 hours of each other. So it's a week-to-week league, and absolutely. And I think Taylor Heineke talked a little bit about it. I think he said the same thing, that they have to stay focused. They celebrated the win. We saw him on the plane. He got his shoes. He's got his lineman's shoes. That's great, but that doesn't matter. The Texans don't care about that, and they're ready to prove that while they've have a bad record, they've been in a lot of their games, and so that they're hungry, and they would love to knock off the darling of the week, which the Commanders kind of were for knocking off the Eagles. So they're definitely no slouch. So my next question is, obviously Washington has a short week, playing on Monday night. They play in Philly. They head home for however many days, a few days. Then they head to Houston. What do you do as a player? How does your preparation change when you are on a short week, but then have to travel back-to-back weeks? Is there any different preparation, or do you just kind of shift your week a little bit? What does that look like, and kind of what can we expect, or what can we kind of look at and see and think about what the Commanders are doing this week?
Generally, you have to think that, normally the Monday would be that day after a game, and some people make it a day off. Some people save that for a Tuesday, but you kind of lose that day because you played on Monday. You're essentially going to lose a day of practice, and frankly, it's maybe good that you're going against a subpar team without having that extra day of practice. It becomes more mental. It's all up here. You're going to have to be able to watch some tape and understand, hey, we can execute these things without being able to do it physically on the field. Now, as a player, you got to keep your same schedule as much as possible. If you go get massages on Saturdays before you travel, go get your massage before you travel, right? You probably have to do it on Friday because you're going to leave Saturday morning. So the schedule ends up being the same. You just miss that extra day of work, and it's more responsible for the players to really get in some study time and be ahead of the game plan and know what they're going to do, because you're not going to get as many physical reps on the field.
Yeah. So that's kind of what it seemed like to me. It seems like the Commanders are saying all the right things, but it seems like on a wacky week, you never know what can happen. And we'll get to the picks later, but I think that's got to be part of the reason that the Commanders are only a 3-point favorite. You would think that it would be a little bit more. I know they're going on a road, and that kind of affects things. And the Commanders, while they have played well, they're just at 500 themselves. But I have to imagine that short week kind of affects things and kind of affects how teams are looking at it. So that'll be interesting. I hope, like I said, they're saying the right things. They seem to be doing the right things. It seems like they're getting good work in this week from all the practice reports, but it is an extra day that you're losing there. So hopefully they can continue that mindset as we head into the weekend. Yeah,
I don't think they're going to have any problems. I mean, this is a game that we circled as, out of those 4 games, they ended up flip-flopping the Minnesota and Philly ones. But we had this one in the upcoming game as 2 games that they should win. So yeah. I think they're going to step up to the occasion. I think they know what's at stake here. The team made the quick decision to say that Taylor is going to start. He will be starting against Houston. I think it was smart to let that be known. Don't let it linger out. Don't try to play mind games with Houston. Just say, hey, you're getting Taylor Heineke, all right? And outside of that, you're going to get that same run and attack. You're going to have that same physical presence. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, so I saw it seemed like maybe the national media was a little more made it more of a story that Taylor Heineke was going to be the starter. To me, that didn't seem like there was any question, at least not for this week, because I don't think I thought Carson Wentz was just barely throwing the ball. He obviously hasn't been fully cleared. So I don't know, maybe they were just kind of taking the headline there because it is what it is. But I didn't think that there was any question that Heineke was going to start. Did you think that at all?
Nah, I mean, if they would have made the switch, and I can say frankly, I wasn't up to just the exact, updates on Carson, but I know that he was eligible to come back this week. So I
Right,
think
right.
I think you run away with that. Like he could come back this week. Is he going to?
Sure.
It's like, no, let the momentum ride. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm at the tables and I'm hitting, let that thing ride, man. Let it ride. You got a guy that's over here balling, got the team uplifted. There shouldn't have been any question. It makes for good headlines, good clickbait. But yeah, there shouldn't be any question that you got to stick with the hot hand at this point.
I agree, and I'm excited to see what he can do. I want to see more of what they did early on, besides the strip sack to start the game. But do what they did in that drive to respond to the Eagles. Go out and do that a couple of times. Kind of, hopefully, they can do what they did in the Jaguars game. Jump out to 2 early touchdowns and put a bad team from behind, force them to make some mistakes and make something happen.
But stay ahead. Don't have to do a full
right,
comeback, please. No need for heroics.
Right, absolutely. But I really think the Texans, I agree with you that they're young, but I think Dameon Pierce is the answer there. And if you can bottle him up, which the Commanders, part of this impressive streak they've been on, 4 out of the last 5, they've really bottled up the run. So I hope to see more of that, and hopefully they can shut down Dameon Pierce, who's kind of been a rookie darling out of nowhere, out of Florida. But man, he is fun to watch run the football, and if you aren't sound in your tackling, he'll make you feel it, and he'll run right through you.
That is a fact. That dude runs angry. He runs like old school football. And I say old school, and I'm really meaning like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, you don't see that much, that as many people run so angrily and so physical. And I feel like he was probably a headache for defenders and linebackers in training camp. They thought that they had a little rookie who was going to come in here tiptoeing, and he probably ran a few people over and turned some heads for the Texans team. So I think they're a decent team. Definitely on the upswing. I know one of the biggest matchups that I was on Twitter talking about, and I was watching tape, rookie Kenyon Green. He's a left guard for Houston out of Texas A&M. He drew the short straw. He got 2 short straws. He got to deal with John Allen and Deron Payne.
Yep.
And they go probably roll them things back and forth right in front of him all game long. He's going to have to bring his lunch pail. Just a little bit of tape I saw against New York. He had some good plays here and there, but then he also gave up some quick swims, to get some instant pressure on the quarterback. So it's definitely going to be a good test for him. But John Allen, Deron Payne, they got to be sitting there, putting on their bibs, licking their lips, because they're like, hey, we got a rookie, fresh meat over here. Let's go to work right here all day. So that's a big matchup that I'm paying attention to. I think this defensive line will be too much for this offensive line, and that should dictate how this game goes.
Well, and you mentioned momentum. I mean, they go up against the Eagles, who a lot of people consider to be one of, if not the best offensive line in the league. And now you're saying you're going up against a team that only has 1 win, and a rookie is a big part of what they do across the offensive line. You're absolutely right that defensive line is looking to feast a little bit. Speaking of, we mentioned, I think on our recap episode on Tuesday, I saw a report that Adam Schefter said that Chase Young would would play in Houston. It sounds like it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Maybe it's the Commanders playing a bit of, I don't know, misdirection with the Texans. But we've seen him out at practice. I know, this could change when we post this. This could change by tonight, but it's 3:30 on Thursday. What is your initial reaction? Do you think Chase Young makes his debut in Houston this week, or do you think they wait a little bit longer?
I think you need to wait. I was on with the Houston Texans, broadcast, speaking to DP, and she was like, yeah, he should wait. But she was saying it out of the fact that a Houston fan. But I was like, honestly, I think that you could afford to allow him to wait this week. I don't think you need to force him back. You have a bye week coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm not saying you have to wait another month before Chase Young gets on the field, but going up against Houston, maybe you would feel like maybe you don't need to throw Chase Young back out there, especially against such a physical running attack. I'm always cautious just about how you're going to first respond when you get on the field with that ACL. And then I know they're going to run like power right at him. They're going to run right at him and say, are you going to feel confident in your knee? Are you going to be able to hold up against this? Because we will run the ball your way the whole entire time. So in my eyes, I say, hey, give it another week. There's no need to rush it. But if he does play, very small snap count, probably out there mostly for energy and maybe on some third down situations.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think I was seeing that Ron Rivera said if and when he's back out there, he's going to be on a pitch count. And then I think Jack Del Rio talked maybe earlier today or yesterday, and he said, he's got to be able to protect himself. And it's like you said, if they're running right at you, can you get out of the way? Can you deal with a block or that kind of thing? How do you feel? Part of me is torn. I understand the pitch count. I understand the guy hasn't played football in a year, but if he's clear, he's clear. What does a pitch count mean, and how does that work? I mean, to me, it's like if you're available, why wouldn't you play? But I understand you got to ease yourself back in. But also if you're there, we need you. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking to it 100%. Haven't played in a long time. One of the biggest things about that position, defensive end, is one, you got to be able to take on some really big O-line. You have to be able to brace and really sink your legs in there and anchor. Now, doing that for 50, 60, 70 plays, that ain't the smartest thing to do when you have your shiny toy coming off the shelf. Put him in there in situations where it's like, hey, 3rd and long, Chase, go ahead and get out there. 3rd and 10, go get out there, because you can expect a pass. You can expect him being able to use his speed. The pitch count is like, hey, let's just save him for those situations that are going to allow him to be the best. They're not going to do a quick 12 like in the preseason. Somebody says they play 12 plays, they get you 12 plays in the first quarter, then they pull you out. They're going to keep Chase Young ready all game. This would be my interpretation. They would keep him ready all game and throw him in there in key situations. Passing downs would make the most sense. Let those young guys do the running game. Let them handle that. Because if Washington gets ahead like we anticipate them doing, then you could see more Chase Young rushing the passer. You can get to see him get back to that. That's what you want him here for. You want him to rush the passer. You don't really care for him to have to sit there and play the run all game long. I would rather see him out there rushing the passer. That's my big thought, how I would play it.
I hear you. And kind of how we talked about Taylor Heineke is kind of house money. You go with it until, you run out, right? Because you're not really losing anything. I think you're kind of in that situation with the defensive, the defensive line.
I got you. Defensive line is looking good. They're deep across the board. F.A. Obata. My man Brian's over there choking. I got you, though. I got you. We good. You got F.A. Obata. You've got Ridgeway is inside at D tackle. We already mentioned Deron Payne, John Allen. You got Montez Sweat, the second in the league in hits, only behind Joey Bosa. There are a lot of good stats going on for this defense, and they don't have Chase Young. That's
exactly what I was saying. I got choked up thinking about how special it's been watching this team, man. Pardon me. But yeah, no, I'm with like they found something with this group that they have right now, so it kind of affords you a little bit more time with Chase Young. So they're in a good situation. I would love to see him out there, even if it is on a pitch count, but I'm with you. I don't right now on Thursday afternoon. I don't know that we see him. I think maybe next week, if he gets like a full week, we're coming off a short week already, but he gets a full week to face the Falcons. Maybe you see him then, but yeah, I don't know that you see him this week. I think maybe Adam Schefter got a good word. Maybe it was a misdirection by whoever his source is in that regard, but I think you might have jumped the gun there because I don't know that it's a slam dunk that he plays on Sunday.
Yeah. And I mean, but playing in the game, there's like I said, there's going to be 70 plays. He could play 10 and technically play, right? But that's also, you got to think of the way the game is played, little chess, right? Hey, quickly tell him, hey, Taylor Heineke's out there. Oh, but Chase Young, we're not sure. He might play. And so Houston, whoever's at right tackle, I don't have that pulled up at the moment, but he's probably thinking, Lord have mercy, I hope that old Chase Young don't come back.
Right.
Yeah, I'd rather have 99 wait a week or two before he comes back out there. But, like I said before, I trust this coaching staff. I trust the team, the training staff, how they've handled injuries. Yeah. So whenever Chase comes out there, you got to think he's going to be ready to go. I don't see why he wouldn't be.
Yeah, I think, I'm with you. Like maybe before this year when we hadn't seen everything play out so far, I would have been with you and doubted the training staff, but they've handled everything right. Jahan Dotson finally came back when he's healthy. I think he's going to, I don't know the snap counts, but I felt like we didn't see a whole lot of him. So maybe he was even on a pitch count per se, but yeah, I'm with you. They're going to take care of their guys and they're looking for the long haul. They're in the playoff hunt right now. Chase Young, do you want him for one game and then re-injure something and then not have him again till December, or do you want him for the full, end of November through December into January? So that's a good point. We'll see if Chase Young is out there. Like we said, we're not sure, at least not the full Predator. Maybe half a Predator or a third of a Predator is out of there.
He's still scary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's imposed even when he's on the sideline, just in sweats. I mean, he's almost bigger than half the guys in their pads and all that. So it's hard not to still talk about the Eagles game. We're gonna put that to bed. But one thing that they did over the last couple of days is they kind of righted a couple of wrongs that they felt like they experienced over these last couple of weeks. They lost Jordan Davis, the stud rookie out of Georgia, or who we think is going to be a stud rookie. He's only played.
He was balling. He was balling.
Yeah, absolutely
effective for sure.
Absolutely, they've certainly been missing him. Damian Pierce, love the fact that he wasn't in there. Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson both enjoyed the fact that he wasn't in there. So they signed a couple of veterans in Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh over the last couple of days. I think they're making sure down the final stretch that a game plan like what the Commanders did does not work once again. What did you think of that move, and do you think it was a direct reaction to Monday night?
It was 100% reaction to Monday night. It was a reaction to the last 2 weeks. And frankly, if I'm in Green Bay, I'm gonna be like, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, hey, they got ran on for 2 weeks and went and got D tackle help. I've been asking for receiver help for my whole entire career.
Yeah,
help me out. And that's just being petty, but it's definitely a reaction. You got to think Philly's planning for the playoffs. They're planning for down the line. You got a couple of teams that ran the ball on you very handily. Yeah, you got to address it. You got to plug those holes up. So, I mean, it's a smart play for them. How it affects them moving forward, hopefully from our sake, hopefully it doesn't do them any good. Hopefully it stinks. But I think it will help shore up their defensive line.
I was going to say, this is now the second team that has made some significant changes right after playing the Commanders. The Colts, I think they fired their offensive coordinator maybe the game after they lost to the Commanders, and that was after they made the quarterback change. And then obviously they fired Frank Reich, and now Jeff Saturday, now Matt Ryan's back. I think the Commanders started that kind of snowball effect for the Colts, and I would love to see if they get the big upset on the Eagles and it messes with them and it affects them going forward. So I just like the fact that the Commanders are kind of setting the tone for a couple of other teams. It's nice to have that because typically the Commanders are on the other end where they're firing guys and they're getting rid of people. It's nice to just see that they caused that for a change.
Yes, indeed. What they say, left hand up. Who
right.
are we? The Commanders. Hey, man, they're playing ball. They're really hitting their stride, though, as a team.
Yeah.
Just literally, as a whole entire team, they're hitting their stride. I've said it before. It's going to take a good 6 weeks, at least for the offense to get rolling. And that struggled, and that still continued to struggle. When you got Heineke back in there, started to pick up the tempo. You got Robinson back, started to pick up the tempo. I saw a great stat, and I'm trying to find it. It was about basically the Kam Curl's his impact on the defense has helped other players.
And real quick, Cole Holcomb, I don't think has practiced again all week, so I imagine Kam Curl is going to stay with the green dot too.
Yeah, I found it. So let's see. This is some secondary stuff. So I'm going back to Monday night real quick. I found it was a thread. Washington Commanders secondary Monday night. Kendall Fuller, 2 targets, no completions, no nothing. Kam Curl, 2 targets, 2 completions, -4 yards. Benjamin St. Juste, he was the one that they were attacking. 8 targets, 4 completions, 29 yards, 1 forced fumble. Held Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert to a combined 69 yards. The secondary is playing out of their mind. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to continue. Derek Forrest had 3 targets. What you got?
I was going to say, one thing I noticed when the inactives came out, and I don't really pay attention. Typically, you kind of know who's going to not play. It's the injured guys. It's the back. It's the young linemen, whatever. Rashad Wildgoose was inactive, and I don't know if that was the case against Minnesota or not, but I think Bobby McCain has kind of slipped into that nickel role a little bit, and I think it's because they've found an answer in Curl and Forrest. I think they love those guys back there together. They work well together, and it allows a guy like Bobby McCain, who's kind of versatile, to play in a couple of different positions. So you're absolutely right. It's a trickle-down effect. Yeah. I do think it starts with Kam Curl in that secondary.
Yes, indeed. I continue. Derek Forrest allowed 3 targets for 3 completions and 67 yards, 1 interception. Played great all game, yada, yada, yada. So they have some ratings here. Kam Curl had an 82.6 rating, And Derek Forrest had an 81.7 overall rating. They were 2 and 3 in ratings for the week.
Wow.
Now, this is a cool stat. Kam Curl has allowed 6 or fewer yards in 8 games since William Jackson was benched. This was after week 4. Fuller has played 6 games since. Kendall Fuller has allowed 48% completion, 22 yards per game, 1 touchdown, and has 5 pass breakups since Kam Curl has been in there. So this defense has really shown up since Kam Curl has been back in the fold, and that versatility at safety. Remember, they had 5 safeties early in the year. Right. We were going way back, and we were like, man, you could do some moving and shaking, and you get different people in different places, and you're starting to see that versatility show up, man. And it's addition by subtraction. Get rid of William Jackson, send him to Pittsburgh so he can go and thrive over there. Move St. Juice outside. He's able to hold it down. Kam Curl's got the green dot. He's got everybody moving around, moving correctly. They're moving in the right direction. This is definitely night and day difference between earlier in the year and now.
And it's fun because these are all young guys too. Bobby McCain is the quote unquote old head at 29. Kendall Fuller's 27, and the rest of these guys are 25 and under. So it's impressive if these guys are legit playmakers moving forward. A position that was definitely a weak spot at one point, and maybe coming into the season could end up being a huge part of a dare we say it, playoff run down the line. It's fun to watch these guys kind of grow up and kind of figure it out on the run, because they're certainly playing well. And they got a good chance against a Texans team that don't have a lot of receiving playmakers. I mean, you got Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, Chris Moore, Philip Dorsett, all kind of solid, okay, below average guys. I say that now. One of them's going to have a huge game, but you got a chance to build on that as well, specifically in the secondary. So I'm excited for those guys moving forward.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm scrolling Twitter, so I apologize, y'all, but I'm just sitting here scrolling. Terry McLaurin is trending. So I was like, let me see what's going on. But they must have just spoken to the media. So
yeah, don't make me nervous. We will end this show right now.
No, but it's also Pro Bowl voting. They're voting. So get out there, vote for your favorite Commanders. I mean, I'm seeing LJ she got Charles Leno, John Allen, Deron Payne, Kam Curl, McLaurin. Those guys all got to get on.
Yeah,
you got to go vote for them. So whatever you got to do, team, go and vote for your team. We got to get this thing closed out. We got to do picks. We got to get to the picks. So we're going to stay for the picks, but I got to say thanks to the folks that tune in. Thanks for Bet Online. Those are our sponsors. You can check us out all over the place. But what do we got next? We got picks coming up.
That's right. So stay with us on video. Otherwise, we'll release this on Friday. I'm back to do picks. I'll put that guy, Cam Rogers. What does he know? He's just got an incredible record. Let Brian Murphy step back in to show you how the picks are done. So that'll be next. But yeah, thank you for checking us out. We'll see if the Commanders can keep it rolling against the Texans and get over 500. They got a chance to get over 500 again since week 1. First time since week 1 they can do it on Sunday. So thanks for checking us out. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. If you've got questions for a former player, be like me, and I will send them to me or send them to Anthony, and we'll get them figured out, because Anthony is a wealth of knowledge. So it's fun breaking down the Commanders and the Texans, hoping for a big dub. Stick with us for the pick show. Otherwise, we will talk to you later.
Yes, indeed. See y'all.
All right, let's jump right into it. We are doing our picks segment.
Yes, indeed. And we got to give love first. So, this is brought to you by Bet Online. It's definitely our place to run your bets, man.
We gotta do that. We get the odds from Bet Online. These are as of Thursday afternoon. So if they change a little bit or a guy is out and that affects it, you can't hold it against us. We're recording it a little bit early in the week. But so these are our Week 11 picks, as always, brought to us by Bet Online, where you can just bet about anything.
Just about. World Cup is on there, NBA, MMA, NHL, all of those things are going on. Boxing as well. So your place to do your betting. Number 1 sports betting spot this season. All your team odds, team info, player news, game trend will be at BetOnline. Head over to betonline.ag. Get a 50% welcome bonus, y'all. BLEAV, that's our code. Use that thing and get yourself some bets. World Cup is on there, guys. You got a free bet for World Cup. So go ahead and throw your support behind your favorite country.
Are you a soccer guy? Are you a...
I can appreciate watching it. I don't watch it like religiously, so I don't
I'm with
know
you.
who's where, but I do like watching the game. I enjoy that. So I like I guess the beautiful game they call it.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
is pretty beautiful whenever everything goes well and you tie in some good commentary that's in a language you can't understand, and you're like, oh, something's good is happening. Something good is happening. Go.
That's right.
Then so I can do that part.
I fully admit that I am a fair weather fan. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. If there's a big game on, I'll watch it. But I'm with you. I don't follow it week by week. If I see that there's a big matchup between two big clubs, I'll check it out. But then I am all in for the World Cup and for the Olympics. I love that. So I will be tuned in all next week. I'm going to have to find a way to watch Thanksgiving football and Thanksgiving soccer. That's going to be fun. So can do some sort of parlay on Bet Online for Thanksgiving football and football. So that'll be fun. But the stuff I guess I kind of know a little bit better is the NFL, although my picks don't share that they don't express that. But let's get to our Week 11 picks. What's my record? If you had to guess over the first 10 weeks, it's not very good. Probably 15, 20, 30 games under 500.
Yeah, I think so. Last week was rough, and I'm not just laying on you. Last week was rough for me and Kam. Shout out to Kam for coming on and helping us out. We were both like 4-10. It was
an odd week.
Yeah, it was definitely an odd week. It was like the teams, literally just about everything that we picked was off. And you got to consider the spread as well. But we will do better this week. We will improve.
That's right.
We got Titans-Packers, okay? Titans-Packers.
The Packers are a 3-point favorite. Finally got a win after a long losing streak last week against Dallas. The Titans, did they beat the Broncos last week? Maybe. I can't remember. But the Packers, 3-point favorite at home at Lambeau. Give me Aaron Rodgers. I think they roll with it. I think they found something working, and I'm hoping for one of my fantasy teams that Christian Watson is a real deal playmaker again this week. So give me the Packers in this one on Thursday night.
The Titans did indeed win the game. Ryan Tannehill was back at the helm.
That's right.
I'm going to go with Tennessee, and I'm just simply because I figure you're just going to hand that thing off to Derrick Henry and let him do his thing. It'd be hard to get a bead on what Green Bay is doing, but I'm going to go with Tennessee to cover the 3.
I hear you, and it's cold. It's probably getting cold. I don't know the weather right in front of me, but Lambeau in the winter, that's when you need a good running back, and they have that in Derrick Henry, no doubt about it. All right, the Ravens, 13-point favorites against the Panthers. The Ravens are at home. Sounds like Baker Mayfield is going to be your starter. I think P.J. Walker was injured, so Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson going at it once again. Used to face off in the AFC North. Now one is in the NFC South. All Ravens here?
Yeah, I think so. This one has the spread went up by 1 point. So I guess when they got the news, it was a -12. Now it's -13. I'm going to roll with Baltimore in this one.
Usually it's a quarterback, but can you imagine if Vegas gave their reason for a point spread going up or down? Like, oh yeah, that quarterback's starting. Yeah, there's no way. Hike that up a little bit. That's that's tough.
Man, I tell you, they don't need to do that.
No, that'd be
hurt feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hurt feelings.
All right, the Bills coming off the craziest game.
Who'd you pick? Did you take Baltimore?
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I said all Ravens. I figured we both were all Ravens there.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I think the Ravens handle that pretty solidly there. So the Bills coming off maybe the craziest game ever are going to host the Browns. I think I saw that there's a chance for 2 inches of snow or something like that, or 2 feet of snow.
They're playing in Detroit.
Oh, did they move it?
Yeah, they decided to move this game. It's going to be in Detroit, so there will be no weather, no wind, no issues at all. It'll be a nice, flat, fast track for Stephon and Josh Allen to cover this 8.5. I think they can do it. They got to get back on track, and inside, no weather affected.
Yeah.
I think they're going to try to put up the points.
I wouldn't want to be there, but I love watching those games in the snow. But yeah, I'm going to take the Bills regardless. So give me the Bills there. I guess we might be on Deshaun Watson watch, right? I think he returned to practice, so that'll be interesting what the Browns do there. The Eagles coming off their first loss. If you had heard about that, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Did they lose a game? That's weird. 6.5-point favorite going on the road to the Colts, the Jeff Saturday-led Colts. With Matt Ryan back at quarterback, whatever is going on there, they got the job done last week. But the Eagles, a 6.5-point favorite on the road. Who are you thinking there?
Man, I tell you, it feels like it's been easy to roll with Philly, except for last week. I'm going to roll with Indianapolis simply because Jonathan Taylor ran for 163 yards last week, and I think having Jeff Saturday at head coach, I think that he's like, hey, we're going to run the ball. Let's run the ball. And to have him back healthy, do I think the Colts will win? It's probably not, but I do think they can at least run the ball enough to stay within the 6.5 points and cover.
Well, we talked about it on our preview show that the Texans laid the groundwork. The Commanders put it into play. Hold on to the football, run it well, and you could beat the Eagles. And I'm with you. I think the Colts can certainly keep it close. I don't think that they win, but I do think that they hold on to the ball long enough to where the Eagles will only win by 3-4 points. So give me the Colts to cover at home, but the Eagles to win the game. All right, our Commanders, Believe in Commanders is the show. The Commanders head to the Texans on a short week after the big upset over the Eagles. They are a 3-point favorite going into Houston. I'm feeling good. I'm going to take the Commanders. I think that they jump out to the lead. I think they're focused. I think they avoid the letdown. I don't think they win easily. I don't think this team is ever going to blow a team out, but I think that they win by 4 or 5 points at least.
Yeah, left hand up, baby. I'm going with Washington as well. We went over it. If you listened to the episode,
go check it out
yesterday. Go check it out. I think they're just going to end up having too much for Houston, so Washington can cover this by 3. Joey Sly was NFC Player of the Week.
Yeah,
so he'll get a chance to kick about 2 field goals this game.
Goodness, he was crushing that football. That was awesome to see. We didn't even talk about him. That was impressive to see from him, who's been a little shaky this year.
Yeah, so and you got to give Tressway some love too, because he was able to actually get the ball down on a lot of those high snaps, and it was able to make that execution work. So that was very important. Gave a lot of confidence, and I think they're going to still be able to kick some points down there in Houston. So Washington has it. New England and New Jets.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I got suckered in. I thought the Jets were onto something, and I think they're solid. But whatever it is, New England. They can't beat New England. I think it's like 13 in a row or something like that. Like straight up just have lost to them. So give me the Patriots until the Jets prove otherwise.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I feel like that's probably the way to play. Really talented team out there in the Jets, and it's crazy they lost to Breece Hall and they're still rolling. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll slide over there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take Gang Green. I'm gonna think that they can.
I mean, a streak's got to end eventually. So if I just pick the Pats, it probably means it's gonna end this week. So you're probably safe taking the Jets.
Whatever Brian did,
right. All right. So then the Lions and the Giants. Giants beat the Texans last week. The Lions somehow beat the Bears, which is crazy despite all that Justin Fields was doing. Giants are hosting. They're a 3-point favorite. I think Big Blue keeps chugging along. I think they really don't have any issues in this one.
Yeah, I'm going with them. Detroit will make it, they'll make it interesting for a little bit, but it'll be too many big plays by Saquon Barkley and Darius Slayton. He'll probably show up and have a couple plays as well. So give me New York as well.
All right, this is an odd one to me, and I guess it makes sense for this season, but crazy where the Rams are at right now. As of right now, and I don't know if they know if Stafford's playing. I don't know if it matters just because they have not looked very good, but they're going to New Orleans, and New Orleans is a 3.5-point favorite, and New Orleans is nothing special. This is crazy, and just kind of speaks to, man, the Rams have fallen off a little bit.
Man, that was this one changed as well. It was 4 points on the 15th, so it went down 0.5 point, closed up that line a little bit, and it was a head scratcher. I think in our heads we're thinking, oh man, the Rams are going to be good. I think things are kind of catching up to the Rams, and they lost Cooper Kupp.
Right?
So,
yeah,
that's a big one. My heart says the Rams, but I feel like the recent history has shown that it's probably going to be New Orleans. I'm going to ride with the home team on this one. No Cooper Kupp. Ends up being a little bit of a problem for the Rams. That's what
I feel so shocked by this, and maybe it's going to come back to bite me, but I don't think Sean McVay allows his team to get beat up like that. I know it's New Orleans. I know they've had they had a big win in the playoffs a few years back. So give me the Rams. I think they somehow get it done. I just am not a believer in the Saints, despite all that time ago me thinking that they would be a dark horse team. That has gone out the window so far. But give me the Rams in this one, but I do not feel good about it. Here in my neck of the woods, the Bears are coming to town. Kind of surprised by this one, too. The Falcons are a 3-point favorite at home. Falcons lost on Thursday night to the Panthers. Bears lost a heartbreaker to the Lions. Justin Fields is all of a sudden fantasy quarterback #1. I mean, quarterback, he's just been legit over these last few weeks. It's like he took that loss on Thursday night against the Commanders and hasn't looked back since. So I'm kind of surprised that the Falcons are favoring this one. So give me the Bears. I just feel like I don't know. This feels like a trap, but give me the Bears. I don't know why the Falcons will be favored in this one.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be one of those road game situations.
Sure.
You're on the road, it's tough, but Justin Fields is really starting. I feel like he's playing within himself, right? Where you're like, hey, I am athletic. I can get out of the pocket. I can run. And I feel like, I don't know him personally, but maybe sometimes quarterbacks try to be a passing quarterback. Mm-hmm. Whenever if your best ability is get the hell out the pocket, do that. Josh Allen does it. You know what I mean? Other quarterbacks do it. So, hey, take advantage of it. So I'm on the roll with Chicago, though.
I don't know if the guys on the field will be thinking about this, but I know that Falcons fans will certainly be keeping an eye on this. The Falcons at the #4 pick last year took Kyle Pitts. A lot of people thought they might take Justin Fields. I don't know that Justin Fields is really going to be motivated by that. I think he's just a baller regardless. But if Justin Fields runs all over the Falcons and they get a kind of a glimpse of something that they could have, that could be kind of ugly for Arthur Smith, even in his short time here in Atlanta. So that's just something to keep an eye on. If that'll be interesting to hear come Monday, despite however that game turns out. So Raiders at Broncos. These two teams seem so promising at the beginning of the year. We thought the AFC West had the best division by far. The Raiders and the Broncos are struggling. Who do you take in this one with the Broncos a 2.5-point favorite at home?
I don't care. I don't care. I'll flip a coin. It is the quickest fall of grace that I've ever seen in really a whole entire division. So for the sake of this one, I mean, I got to pick. Give me the home team. Give me Denver. But this is probably a game I leave alone. It's probably going to be 9-6. Yeah. But that means Denver covers, though. But I'll take Denver.
Yeah, I'm going to take Denver, too. I would have taken the Raiders if they were at home. I'm with you. Like, what an ugly game and what a weird – it's just hard to believe that those –
Can they flex that? Can they, flex that to, Sunday at, 10 in the morning, just get it out the way real early?
I was going to say a Saturday morning before college football, something for those people that are unfortunately up early or something like that. I like it. That brutal. You got to feel bad if you're one of those. I don't feel bad for them. I'm saying that those fans feel bad if you're watching Derek Carr and the shell of Russell Wilson, because that is not Russell Wilson, or at least not the guy that we've seen for years. It's ugly.
Man, that's bad. Oh, well. Keep it moving. Cowboys, Vikings, though.
Yeah, Cowboys favored in this one, a 1-point favorite. Am I reading that right? I'm double checking that.
That's what you see. And then I obviously missed it. There's still 1-point favorite on here. I missed this one on my list of stuff. I don't know how, but it is what it is. Dallas versus Minnesota at Minnesota, 1-point favorite. That is interesting.
That feels like something you stay far away from if you're actually betting.
Yeah.
I don't know what Vegas sees there, but I gotta, maybe they think the Vikings luck runs out them pulling off these crazy wins in the end runs out eventually, but I got to stick with the Vikings, man. I think they are proving themselves to be one of the best teams in the league.
I think if you're coming off of that big win against Buffalo, now you're going to go at home, and they have a lot to throw at you. Justin Jefferson is very talented. I don't think you see Trevon Diggs following. I don't think he does that very much, but there's a lot of talent there. So I'm going to slide with. I'm going to go with Minnesota as well. I think that they are going to hold it down at the crib. So close game, though. Obviously, 1-point game. I think Minnesota gets it at the crib. What do you got next? Cincinnati,
4-point favorite going on the road to Pittsburgh.
This went down a 0.5 point, by the way, team. It was 4.5 on the 15th.
Well, so I think part of that, and I could be wrong, I think they were talking about early in the week Jamar Chase playing in this game, but I don't think that he is. And I wonder if that's kind of affecting things. Give me this. I think the Steelers lose by a field goal. I think they keep it close. I think the Bengals win, but I don't think that the Bengals I don't think they win by 4. So give me the Bengals to win, but the Steelers to cover.
Yes, indeed. It looks like Jamar Chase is eyeing a Week 12 return. Okay. so he will be out in this game.
You can't judge everything on fantasy, but early in the week, Jamar Chase had 12, 13 projected points, and then all of a sudden it was gone. So I think they were hoping maybe to get him back. So probably makes sense to save him for another week. So maybe that's part of it.
You picked Cincy?
No, well, I picked Cincy to win, Steelers to cover.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna go with Cincy all the way. I feel really reluctant on that one, but I'm gonna roll with them. I just think I don't know.
I hear you.
Maybe they get it done. But no Jamar Chase. I think I want to see how Burrow looked without Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Yep, they flex. I think they flip-flop these Bengals and Steelers. I think was the Sunday night game. Now the Chiefs and the Chargers with a little more skin in the game in the AFC West. The Chiefs a 6-point favorite going to almost at San Diego, but to LA to face the Chargers. These two teams faced off in like week 2, maybe week 3 on Thursday night. It was kind of a wacky game. I think there was a pick 6 at the 1-yard line or something like that. Maybe the Chargers are trying to get some revenge, but I think the Chiefs are humming, and I think that they take care of them no problem here.
Yeah, this one is another one that has changed, went down a 0.5 point, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think NFL wants an opportunity to put Patrick Mahomes on prime time. They're going to do it. So, yeah, give me the Chiefs on this one. I think it will be no problemo. Kadarius Toney got his first touchdown too.
Yeah, he looks impressive. Doesn't look like his injuries hampering him too much. Maybe he just wanted out of New York, but whatever. So 49ers going on the road. They have another primetime game. Both the Chargers and 49ers played on Sunday night, and now both of them are playing on Sunday night or Monday night. So sticking on primetime, but the 49ers going to the Cardinals. I think I saw it's going to be Colt McCoy again for the Cardinals. That's maybe why the 49ers are favored by so much. I think the Cardinals are going to play it safe and use a lot of James Conner, run the ball a lot, and try not to give the 49ers a whole lot of opportunities to create turnovers. So I think they keep it closer than 8 points, but the 49ers win.
Yeah, I'm going to just go with San Francisco winning and covering the 8. I've never been a huge Jimmy Garoppolo fan. He just makes me nervous. He just makes me nervous back there, but he finds ways to win, and I think they'll just have too much sauce, too much juice, and they can cover this 8.
I think I'm gonna get it wrong, the exact time frame, but after the game against the Chargers, he had a rushing touchdown and an interception, and he has some sort of ridiculous record when he does not throw a touchdown. I want to say it was 10-2 or 10-3. He's like the ultimate game manager, and I don't say that as a knock on him. He just does what he needs to do. He gets the ball to who he needs to get the ball to, and it doesn't matter how it gets done, but the guy just wins games. It's impressive.
It really is. It's one of those ones you bet against it, and you're like, this son of a gun is still It I don't know. It looks like he doesn't know what he's looking at sometimes. He's like, crap, crap. Shoot. And then next thing you know, touchdown, Deebo Samuel. And you're right. What happened here? But hey, Kyle Shanahan's is a lot more gray nowadays than he used to be, and it probably be just having a unsteady quarterback position. But I do think they win. I think they cover that. I think it should be all good.
All right, so I'm putting you on the spot here. It is week 11. We haven't started week 11 as of recording this. Who are your favorites now in the NFC and the AFC? You have to pick one team right now. If you had to make a bet on Bet Online to represent the AFC and the NFC in the Super Bowl, who are you going with? It was a topsy-turvy last week. I felt like we were kind of getting some stuff set in stone, but a couple of teams jumped up and some fell down last week. So that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, no, that's a good call there. I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I feel like that's a super easy bet. That division's not so hot, but I think they have enough experience that they should push it. My dark horse is those Miami Dolphins. My surprise team starting the year. I think they got enough offensive juice to make something happen. If I go over there to the NFC side, I think you have to look at Minnesota just for just the way they've been able to put things together and find ways to win. I think they're susceptible though. I think they're susceptible. Similar with the Eagles, I think they're both susceptible. So those would be my two teams to kind of focus on those divisions.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the Chiefs, obviously, Patrick Mahomes just looks like, they just got him another toy, and Tony Pacheco, the running back. I mean, they kind of replaced Tyreek Hill and not skipped a beat, which is really impressive. I still think the Bills are legit. I think Josh Allen is kind of fighting through this injury, and he can't afford to sit out time, but I still think they're pretty legit, despite the fact that they've blown a couple of leads. But man, they're not a given to win this division anymore. All four teams as of right now in the AFC East are in the playoff hunt. So the Bills are not a slam dunk to host a playoff game. The
entire East in the NFL could make it to the playoffs. You could have 4-4. Both teams, all four from each side could make it. So my biggest thing with Buffalo though is the weather. It's going to get nasty. They're not going to always get to move these games. There's going to be, and I mean, you have a passing attack. And you think about what last year when New England went into Buffalo, they ran the ball every single time in one of those games.
That's right.
Every single time. Now, can you imagine Buffalo having to get out there? They're going to have to figure out what to do if there ends up being some sort of a snow game. So I think the weather is going to be a negative effect for Buffalo just because they haven't ran the ball very well.
Yeah. NFC, I think the two clear teams are the Eagles and the Vikings. I'm with you, though. They both have deficiencies that it can be exposed, but they still find a way to get wins. I know that the Eagles dropped the one on Monday night, but one team, my dark horse in the NFC, and it feels weird to say that he's a dark horse, but Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they've won 2 in a row. They get a bye week now after the win in Germany. I don't know. It just always seems like Tom Brady is around when you least expect him to be, and I could see the Bucs kind of making a late season run. I think they found something in Rachaad White, so he's always around. So he'll definitely play a part in the NFC picture. But yeah, for right now, I would say I think I would say Bills, Eagles, but there are a couple other teams that could hang around and make this interesting.
Yes, indeed, that is the truth. Well, man, it was always a pleasure. It's been fun.
That's right.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Little man's going on his second week of football. Hopefully he can go 2-0 as a Commanders fan. Maybe he's our good luck charm. So hopefully he can keep it rolling. Hopefully we can get our picks rolling here. So thanks to BetOnline for always bringing us those spreads. And be sure to check them out and use our code BELIEVE they'll match half of your first deposit. So check that out. And then as always, you can check us out all over the place. This show will be on YouTube, but then you can hear us on TuneIn, SiriusXM Stadium, and all your streaming platforms. Anthony, be good. I'm sure we'll talk over the weekend. Hopefully another good weekend of NFL football ahead.
Yes, sir. We'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.